The most successful shipwreck survey ever undertaken in the Mediterranean began in September 2001 when the Virazon was lifted out of its hibernation in Bodrum, Turkey. Virazon is a vessel in the small fleet of the Institute of Nautical Archaeology, or INA, at Texas A&M University. The 65-foot ex-U.S. Army T-boat served both as floating hotel and command center for the survey, carrying the recompression chamber always on hand while diving was in progress. As the Virazon made its way to the initial fleet rendezvous point at Alachata near Cheshme on the Aegean coast, INA's new 45-foot catamaran, Milawanda, was also sailing up that coast. Milawanda was the ancient Hittite name for Miletus, not far away. Trucked overland was the Institute's new two-person submersible Carolyn. Built by the Seamagine Corporation of Claremont, California, this 3.5-ton submersible carries 2 people over the seabed down to 150 feet deep at a little more than 1 mile an hour. Since the pilot and an observer inside have excellent visibility in almost all directions, they can see any wreck between, say, 80 feet and 180 feet deep. The depth rating of 150 feet was chosen because the survey team was interested only in wrecks that can be excavated by scuba divers, including students. Carolyn is named for the wife of Malcolm Weiner, founder of the Institute for Aegean Prehistory, which made possible INA's acquisition of the submersible. The fleet was ready, the staff assembled. George Bass directed the project. Yaşar Yıldız represented the Turkish Ministry of Culture. Turkish archaeologist Feyyaz Subay captained the Virazon and served as a submersible pilot. The other submersible pilot, Murat Tilev, captained Milawanda. Don Fry, as usual, took videos and photographs. Mutlu Günay, a former officer in the Turkish Army Signal Corps and a professional diver, was in charge of communications. Also on board was INA's Tufan Taranla, and INA Director Claude Dutuy was a most welcome visitor. Zafer Gül divided his time between the ship and the catamaran as mechanic, and his young bride, Semra Gül, learned to be both a splendid sailor and a wonderful cook. The survey began with an inaugural dive by Minister of Culture Istemihan Talay on several wrecks already known from past INA surveys. As his wife talked to him from Milawanda above by a wireless communications system, the minister cruised over the remains of a 4th century BC amphora carrier, across a medieval cargo of 32 immense millstones, over the marble elements of a Byzantine church probably lost in the 6th century AD, above a Byzantine amphora carrier, and lastly, over a 1st century BC Doric column, its drums neatly stacked in rows with the column capital lying on top. And I know that if we do that at 130, 140 feet, we'll be very... The real survey then began as a collaborative effort by INA, the Turkish Ministry of Culture, and TINA, the Turkish Institute of Nautical Archaeology, several of whose members serve also on the board of INA. We began not far south of Cheshme. We soon began to spot wrecks, sometimes visible only as a scatter of a very few amphoras. Oh wow, oh look at the anchor. Look at that anchor. Milawanda, 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 Milawanda. We have another wreck. Let's take a GPS reading on this. So we have a good wreck here.
Yeah.
I think we need to get the divers down. We are about 140 feet deep where we are sitting down, and we'll wait for you to arrive, and then we can point out where the things are. Oh, Tufan's got his pottery detector, that metal detector. Divers were able to poke into the sand and learn more about each site. Carolyn tows a small buoy on the surface, allowing those on Millawanda to follow closely above. In only a month, between September 29 and November 1, the survey located 14 wrecks and 10 possible wrecks. In addition, we revisited a dozen wrecks found on earlier surveys in order to record them on video and to take accurate GPS coordinates. Maintenance, often in exotic locales, continued around the clock. Occasional repairs sometimes lasted far into the night. Regardless of when they went to bed, some of the team were up again before the sun, checking email when within cell phone range, or getting the only news of the day by the Voice of America radio broadcast. Not all the wrecks we found were ancient. Will this poor vessel settle slowly into the sand? What is the story of this modern boat with its diesel engine still in place? And does this cover for a modern life raft mark some tragic event? On one windy day, we certainly prevented still another wreck when a yacht attempting to leave the harbor caught a trailing line around its propeller, preventing it from maneuvering. One of our team spotted the boat in distress, and immediately two of our crew rushed out and pulled the stricken vessel off the rocks. We returned to a 6th century AD Byzantine ship at Iskandil, Burnu, near Knidos, to see if it was still well preserved. Texas A&M graduate student Manuela Lloyd wrote her master's thesis on this wreck, showing that it had sailed from the Holy Land. Our most exciting moment came when we revisited a site discovered almost 2 decades ago by one of Don Fry's surveys. Don had always wanted to return to this place because he had found there a 5th century BC glazed bowl, and he wanted to know if any more of the wreckage existed farther downslope. Murat was at the controls.
Everything is ready, and we're requesting permission to go down.
Okay, permission to descend.
Okay, we're gonna go 150, 150. Yeah.
We recognized the large boulder from a photograph Don had shown me many years before. We called divers down to investigate while Murat and I circled the site, taking videos. Mutlu was wearing a full face mask with speaker inside so that he could communicate both with Millawanda above and with those of us in Carolyn. He reported that Yashar had found an amphora and was trying to dig it out to raise for identification. Then he said that Fayaz had found something next to the amphora. He thought it was a cooking pot.
Oh, there it comes, there it comes. Let's see, what is it? What is it?
It's like a flower pot.
Wow. My God,
Yeah, that's good.
my God. Oh my God, oh my God. It's a red figure vase. I don't believe this. I just don't believe this.
Seen anything like that perfect, George Bay. Anything and that big and that perfect with such good shape and no concretions on it. Perfect.
That's incredible.
Really, it's just like came out of the shop.
Claude, get ready. Get out the champagne. This is unreal. I've never seen anything come out of the sea like this before.
Look, because you see an imprint of a glaze. Look.
Oh gosh.
You see his and the Greek look. The Greek look all the bottom. The Greek frieze and you can perfectly see. You see what I mean? Look.
Oh.
You see?
Yes, they outlined red figure before they
And
painted.
he's holding a stick.
Yeah.
How long ago was this? 10 years ago? 15,
Oh no, 15 years
15
ago.
years ago.
Yeah.
You've waited all
And
these
I always
years.
wanted to come back and see if there's something more.
Without doubt, the most important find of the survey was found not by high technology, but by a diver friend, Selim Dinjer, in charge of the fisheries department in Bodrum. He stumbled on it while diving for pleasure and told Ashkan Jambazoglu, another old friend, who called us by cell phone with the news and then visited us on Virazon. We went immediately to the place and found only a few amphoras visible. But Tufan and others poking in the sand said there is much more on the site. Don took a digital photograph and sent it from Virazon by email to Mark Lowell, an amphora expert at the University of Manitoba. Mark was terribly excited, for he pointed out that this was the first 6th century BC wreck ever found in the eastern Mediterranean. Barbara Dutui's first ever visit to an ancient shipwreck gives some idea of what it is like to see the underwater world for the first time.
I'm just very happy. I've heard about this for such a long time, and to be able to be here and see what it's all about is really very, very special to me. It's just amazing to see Claude out there. How many feet away from us? It just takes a new dimension to everything about underwater archaeology and everything you read about. But I think you have to be here in this place to understand a lot more about it.